Hi, my name is Sam Collins and I'm a senior at Bowdoin College. I am from Harpswell, Maine.
Hi, my name is Ivan Zhang. I am a senior at Bowdoin College as well, and I'm from Brantford, Connecticut.
And the two of us have been the co-leaders for this year's alternative spring break trip, Generosity in Georgia. So, and this week we've been working with Lutheran Services of Georgia and Jewish Family and Career Services.
Right, and all our alternative spring break trips are run through our school's civic engagement uh, service program. It's run through the Joseph McKean Center for the Common Good, and each year we have about 6 or 7 both domestic and usually one international trip for these community service opportunities.
Ivan and I originally became interested in working here in Atlanta because we've been doing some work up with the Portland refugee community, and we wanted to not only continue our work with the refugee community but also have a way to compare the two communities as we're continuing to create bonds with our budding community in Portland. So it's been a really great experience to see all the resources that Atlanta has, since it has such a larger and more developed refugee resettlement program than we do up in Portland, and we're really excited to take the knowledge that we learned this week back to Portland and Maine as a whole. So.
And I guess my favorite part of the trip so far was the very strong educational component that the Jewish Family Career Services they've provided for us. I think it was really nice of them to introduce us first when we came here with a lot of background knowledge and some interaction with refugee communities.
And for me, I think my favorite memory from this week was we did a tour of Clarkston, Georgia, which is where most of the refugees live, on Wednesday morning with Lutheran Services of Georgia, and we got to see a really wide variety of the services provided, including, the community center. We got to go into the grocery store and see all of the international food that they import for the communities, and we got to see a cyber cafe where people can communicate with their friends from home, and also the Global Village School, which was great. We got to eat lunch with some of the students. So overall, it was just a really great way to see all that the community has to offer and how they've really grown to cater so many resources for the refugees and immigrant population here in Atlanta.
Lutheran. We're all from Bowdoin College, and originally I'm from New Jersey. And one of our favorite experiences on this trip was visiting the Global Village School, which is a school just for girls, for refugee girls from all over the world. We tutored there for one day, and we got to meet some really amazing young women. I tutored a girl who had only been at the school for 2 days, and she already knew so much English, and it was amazing. She was motivated, she was asking all these questions, and it was great to see that these young girls are motivated and excited to learn.
I'm Kala from New York City, and yeah, this was a really incredible experience. The day before we started tutoring, actually, we got to have lunch with a group of the girls, and I remember I was sitting with 3 of them, and we were just talking about what we wanted to do after school, and 2 of the girls were really into science. One loved biology, the other chemistry, and they were telling me how they wanted to be doctors, they wanted to go on and pursue fields of biology, chemistry, and just, I know, it's awesome to see such motivation and such drive.
I'm Sarah. I'm from San Diego, California, and one of my favorite experiences at the school was I got to tutor a young woman from Afghanistan. She's 20 years old, and we were going over algebra and some verb conjugations, and we had a really great time, and it was just so amazing to see that this girl who came with essentially nothing was so excited about learning and so excited about her future. And then next to me in our group, there was a session that was studying or learning about ways they could go into job interviews and preparing for the future. And that was just amazing to see how interested these girls were and how seriously they took it. And it was a great opportunity to see how much potential these girls have.
Hi, I'm Luis. I'm from Bowdoin College, and this is...
And I'm Ilana, and I go to Bowdoin College, and I'm from Mexico. And we've been in Atlanta for a week working with refugee communities.
So originally we came here, and we're on our alternative spring break trip. And we've been learning with the Jewish Family and Career Services as well as with Lutheran Services of Georgia. And we're very glad to be here because we've been learning a lot. And it's been such a great experience for us. When we first got here, we worked with JFCS, and it was an amazing experience learning about the services they provide to immigrants, especially to couples that are refugees, because it can be very stressful for them to arrive to the United States and to be having to immerse themselves in a culture and to share the responsibilities that go along with assimilating themselves in the United States. And we learned about the communication education that they go through, a lot of the cultural differences between their countries and the United States create a little bit of tension in couples and families. And when the responsibilities of work and jobs and home services have to be balanced between the mother and the father and the children, that can be very stressful for them. So we learned about that, as well as some of the other tensions that can be present in their situation, especially coming to new schools. That can be very hard on the children, and just immersing themselves in our culture can be very difficult for them. But overall, we learned that communication really is the key, and that if they seek out the services here in Atlanta, that they are definitely available to them. And so Jewish Family and Career Services has been doing a great job, and we learned a lot and watched some amazing videos regarding the issues.
With JFNCS, we also talked to Joe Kernan, who works for USCIS, and that was really interesting because first we got the viewpoint from a nonprofit of what immigrating to the US is like, and then we got the viewpoint from the US government, and he kind of explained the reasoning of the government for all the laws they put into place for the refugees coming into the US. So that was really interesting because you get to see how nonprofits react to the laws and how these laws can constrain them. For example, the fact that the US only helps refugees for the first 6 months can be hard for nonprofits. But then Joe Kernan explained how the government decided to only help refugees for 6 months, which in this case they decided to do that so that they wouldn't necessarily set roots into the first place where they arrived, and they'd be free to move around afterwards.
Right, and a lot of what we learned is how they settle in. We learned that within the first 2 months there's a lot of stress involved and a lot of hectic moving and setting up their places and getting jobs and really taking advantage of the services. And it's not until within 2 years that they've really settled into the United States and started a new life for themselves. So 2 years might seem like a short time, immigrating into a new country, but for them it can definitely be a long time, and it can be very stressful and frustrating to have to deal with a lot of new situations coming from a new country.
Good morning, I'm J.D. McCrary. I am the Associate Director of Refugee Resettlement with Lutheran Services of Georgia, and I would like to thank Bowdoin College for all the hard work they have done over the past 3 days. We've got a tremendous amount accomplished, including clearing all this space over here and putting down all this mulch and wood chips on the other side, and the college group has been absolutely spectacular, and we would love to have them back whenever they want to come down again.